So what would your Vault Hunter persona be like?
Now that's a tough ask because it's just Zane Flint from Borderlands 3. But I will be more original than that.
Zane Flint with a hat?
Zane Flint with 2 hats.
Where's the other one going?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Oh no, you can't give this guy a hat.
My Vault Hunter persona would be kind of like the dirtbag merc for hire.
Love that.
And I think my power would be, or my action skill would be more about like gun shit than like magically siren shit.
Yeah, the magical stuff didn't feel as fun. I haven't played Borderlands. This is going to come out now. But I enjoyed...
You know what? I'm actually quite busy, Paul, so maybe if we just get off this call now and never speak to each other again, then that's the fair. Best course of action.
That is fair. For some reason, as it came out, I was under the impression it was a online-only experience without a single-player campaign, and that kind of steered me away. And I was completely wrong about that, and I don't know where that came from.
Well... Listen, I'm always ready and willing to play Borderlands with people, so...
How many are there now?
It kind of depends.
I'm out.
There's Borderlands, Borderlands 2, Borderlands 3.
So far, so good.
Borderlands, the pre-sequel.
Oh.
And then there's the Tales from the Borderlands games, and then there's Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
Okay.
And then Borderlands, they've just announced Borderlands 4.
Okay. Mechanically, do these differ at all? Is one of them like a beat-em-up?
So Tales from the Borderlands are the more visual novelly, like make a choice. What are they called?
Oh, like the Telltale games.
Telltale games. Thank you very much. Okay. They're Telltale games. Wonderlands is a bit weird. Put that to one side. But 1, 2, 3 and the pre-sequel all play kind of the same looter shooter.
Looter shooter. Love it. Okay. All right. We shall make a commitment now to spend the next year getting good at Borderlands, and then we'll meet right back here on this spot and release it in...
Getting good, Paul. I've got over 800 hours combined in the Borderlands games.
You can get me good, and then I guess we'll meet back here to discuss this movie in what will be January 2025?
Perfect.
If we start now. Okay, let's... Hello and welcome to One Good Thing, the podcast that has something you'll never have. Enough. Bad movies to review, that is. You all have all of that, you just don't want it. I'm Paul Trapp, and I am joined by the very scummiest of scumbag bounty hunters, Becs Watson.
I'm unhappy to be here.
Here under duress, Becs Watson.
I thought I wanted this to happen, and then I hated the film so much, and I thought I'm going to have to watch it again, because it's been so long since I watched it, and I thought, I think I suggested this, and I was like, why?
Very common OTT experience, really, is that people think, oh yeah, that would be fun to come and talk about, and then the reality of actually sitting through it sits in.
Watch it again, yeah.
Yeah, it's bleak. Yeah. It's horrible.
I almost didn't.
You almost just bore the scars from the first time. That's fair. I did that with Megalopolis.
At least Megalopolis, very satisfying to say.
It'll always have that going for it.
Megalopolis.
Yeah. Well, Bex has decided we should all die looking for some godforsaken fabled good thing in the 2024 film Eli Roth's Borderlands.
Would you look at that? A ladder! Unfortunately, my design doesn't facilitate this type of...
Well, destiny awaits.
Legend has it that there's this massive treasure hidden in some secret vault. And if you go hunting for it, you'd better take any help you can get. Because it's on the weirdest, most dangerous dumpster fire of a world in the universe.
God, I hate this planet.
What is that that smell?
Piss wash color.
Ew!
Put the window up.
I don't want to!
Roll the window up!
It's pee. It's pee. Why do you think it's called piss wash? How did it get the name?
It's in my mouth!
Sorry.
Sorry, everyone. Most of all, no, I guess they sold their property. They knew what they were doing. Because yes, this is the film adaptation of Gearbox Software's series of first-person shooters and other games, which was actually in development as early as 2011, just 2 years after the release of the very first Borderland, making it 15 years old last year.
Wow.
Wow.
Almost old enough to buy lottery tickets.
Well, we're the lucky ones here, because, yeah, the first filmmaker to get involved was Leigh Whannell, Adam from Saw, for those who fuck with that sort of thing, who was, at this stage, famous for having written the first 3 Saws, and the first 3 Insidiouses.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love those movies.
Yeah, well, he had written all 3 of those, and he's involved in this. And this is ahead of his much more recent massive successes, Upgrade, the Invisible Man remake, and this year's Wolfman, which he is also directing, and that I am already calling a massive success because of the narrative I'm trying to create here with this production history.
Nice, okay.
Yeah. Because, yes, we have Leigh Whannell involved. Hooray! Then Eli Roth gets involved as director. And I'm just going to go ahead and read this entire extract from Wikipedia. Eli Roth stated that his French bulldog pooping gave him inspiration while pitching the film. I have to look away because she gets really shy, but one day I filmed her. She had a shy look on her face, and I was like, that's Claptrap. A scene of Claptrap pooping coins was included in the final film.
Bullets, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, bullets, that's right.
Yeah, bullet casings.
So here we are. Here we are.
Well, someone find that dog and tell it what it's done.
Have a look at the look on its face now. Film it. Film you telling this dog off for ruining Borderlands. But with Whannell out, who's going to write the script? Not Eli Roth, for the love of God, no. So Aaron Berg gets involved, a mysterious man whose only other credits include a short film called Little Bird, which he produced executively, and writing an upcoming G.I. Joe movie entitled Ever Vigilant. I could laugh, but it sounds like my shit. So I'm going to be into that. But he doesn't last.
I'm laughing.
Fair. 2 years later, Oren Uziel assumes writing responsibilities. He was a writer on 22 Jump Street. Great. The Cloverfield Paradox. Less great. Mortal Kombat. Okay. Escape Room, Tournament of Champions. I won't know until Category 8 shows it to me. The Lost City. And upcoming Statham-a-thon, I hope, Fast 6. Fast 11.
Fast something or other.
Fast whatever they're going to call it. I think they're actually calling it Fast
Still going
X.
fast.
I think it's actually going to be called Fast X Part 2.
Oh.
Just so
that doesn't roll
stupid.
off the tongue.
It's so bad. Oh, God. He also did additional literary material, which is a wonderful credit I'm seeing popping up.
Okay.
In things. He did additional literary material for Strays, the farting dog one, Craven the Hunter, the farting Aaron Taylor-Joy one, and Sonic the Hedgehog 3, etc. So that's a lot of time to spend talking about this guy. 2 years later, he drops out and a different guy comes in. I'm just trying to build a pedigree here.
Yeah. It's important. It's important.
Yeah. We seem to go from one...
Also, you've really got to stretch this bit out because we're not going to have a lot of good things to
No,
say.
true. We've got to get the runtime in somehow. This time, the writer who comes in is bloody Craig Mazin, one of the least consistent writers out there, having worked on Scary Movie 3, Scary Movie 4, Superhero Movie, The Hangovers Parts 2 and 3, the Charlie's Angels remake, and also Chernobyl, The Last of Us TV show, June Part 2, and Wicked. So he's a complicated man. And in many ways,
sorry, hang on.
he's an inspiration to us all.
Can I just pause there at the way that you divided those?
Are you wondering why Wicked is appearing on a particular side of the line?
I was wondering why Charlie's Angels was appearing on a particular side of the line, because fucking love that movie. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to have to talk about that before we pack things
And
away
not
here.
just because I'm gay, but a little bit because I'm gay.
A little bit because Kristen Stewart is all kinds of everything in it.
Oh, she wears those gym shorts like nobody else. Continue.
We will unpack that at a later date. So surely he did good work here, right? Well, yes, maybe, but then it was rewritten by Jewel Taylor and Tolly Rittenmeyer, then by Eli Roth himself. And then they shot the movie, and Mason asked to have his name taken off it. Instead, the writing credit is to Joe Crombie, which may or may not be an Alan Smithy-style pseudonym, meaning no one.
Oh boy. That's how you know it's good. When
That's how
nobody
you know.
wants their name to be attached to it. Also, I know someone from school called Joe Crombie. So.
Love that. Well, now he's going to have all sorts
Hey,
of
Joe.
shite films attributed to him.
Hope you're doing well, man. It must be a tough time for you.
You've got some residuals from some of the worst movies ever made coming your way. Roth finished up, and then the studio were like, oh no! So they got Deadpool and Terminator Dark Fate director Tim Miller to do reshoots. Problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
So there are an awful lot of spoons in this here broth.
Not that the chefs have left. There's no chefs in the kitchen, but they all left their spoons.
They all came in, stirred it once, and left, and this is the result.
And each one brought their own spoon and left it behind.
The second most natural question after why the hell why is why the fuck is Cate Blanchett in this? Well, in an interview with Empire, she said, "The crazy asks are usually the things I gravitate towards, the things I could never conceive of. I think there may also have been a little bit of COVID madness, of spending a lot of time in the garden using the chainsaw a little too freely, and my husband said, this film could save your life."
I think he meant my life.
Yeah, the children's lives. We need to vent this somehow, and Eli Roth is on the phone. God almighty. I like to think that it was her experience shooting this movie that inspired Tar somehow.
Probably.
Somehow. She's definitely channeling something. Kevin Hart apparently underwent Naval SEAL training before his audition. Navy SEAL. Not Naval SEAL.
Those naval
Look.
seals?
I need you guys to train me how to get in shape. God damn it. But that's the kind of thing that privilege gets you, you know? Is you can afford to go and do your military training before the audition.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts. But I mean, he was working at a huge disadvantage. Namely,
Being Kevin
being
Hart.
the least likely candidate to play Roland. Maybe ever.
Critics felt they were too old to be setting themselves on fire for your amusement. Horrifying Google feature has emerged of summarizing reviews, presumably AI generated.
Yeah,
I hate it,
100%.
but let's have a look. So,
I can send you an extension that will make it stop if you like.
oh, yes,
Continue.
please. That would be lovely. I would actually genuinely like that. And so will all the fans. I'll put it in the episode description.
You've got to be using Firefox, though. So buck up, everyone, and start using Firefox.
Yeah, that's fair. I can do that. So basically it summarizes the positive and the negative. So positive. Reviewers found the movie funny and full of action, with some even laughing out loud and slapping their knees.
That was me in the back of the cinema trying to saw my own leg off to get out of there. They, trapped me.
Google noticed you doing that and misinterpreted terribly. Negative, audiences found the cast to be poorly chosen, with several actors being too old for their roles and lacking chemistry with each other. The storyline was also criticised for being boring and predictable, with little to no character development or plot advancement. All the spice and excitement that AI has to offer there in its rundown of this movie.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it does sum up the general feeling
Yeah.
of how shitty everybody thought it was.
Boring and predictable.
I guess
gets
parts
close.
of it were fun, but on the other hand, it was boring, it was predictable, the casting was bad, the film was bad, the plot was bad, the characters were bad.
Eli Roth shouldn't have made it. Almost didn't. Yeah, that's pretty much the vibe. But let's have an actual human review, shall we? Just for the laughs.
Let's, please.
The always excellent Clarice Lockery over on the Independent UK says, "It's dragged us back to a time when studios used to make these, presumably movie video game adaptations, with all the grace and acuity of a drunk person attempting to place a 3 a.m. chicken nugget order." You know how those chicken nugget orders go.
It's tricky, man.
It's tricky. It's the final thing you have to do before you pass out.
Accidentally order 1 chicken nugget but 14 barbecue sauces. We've been there.
Look, oh, I love the idea that that's how, the Super Mario Brothers movie 1991 was put together. Dennis Hopper, I don't know, who's short? Bob Hoskins? Put him in it.
Yeah, sure.
And, I don't know, make it like Mad Max.
And then everyone passes out.
And they wake up and the movie's been made and it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Did we do this?
Ooh.
Uh-oh. What you mean Dennis Hopper's in it? The public, on the other hand, felt that something important happened whilst they were blacked out. Jimmy Chen on Google said, "No spoilers, because this is a steaming pile of garbage that cannot be spoilt by anything I could write." To be fair, the set design is pretty good, managing to evoke the unique and highly stylized look of the video games. Other than that, this is a truly horrendous film.
I'm not even sure. I've got some stuff to say about that later.
I have not played the video games, but I'd be curious to know if they all happen in what looks like the exact same environment in every single stage of it.
I mean, there's certainly an aesthetic.
Okay.
The aesthetic being that this planet is a steaming heap of crap.
Yeah.
But there are very distinct areas
Well, then that's a one-up it has over
that
this
have
movie.
different aesthetics.
This movie
And
looks like a
also, not
junkyard.
everything looks like it's made out of carefully stippled foam. So there's that also.
Carefully, you say? I'm on board. Edgar Ramirez is a 3-man after Point Break in The Last Days of American Crime. I imagine he's a beefcake bro, based on those 2 credits.
Surely.
More excitingly, Gina Gershon is an excellent 3-man after Showgirls and Inconceivable. Kind of disappointing that this is the 3rd part of that particular trilogy, considering how memorable she is in both of those, but there we go.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart is a significantly worse 3-man for having appeared in superhero movie and epic movie, but is perhaps being unique for being a 2-man after only 2 episodes. I'll explain. You see, we covered superhero movie and epic movie in 1 episode, and he was in both.
Oh.
Yeah, that's that.
Wow.
Yeah. Kate Blanchett's
Really
a 3-man.
speed running that achievement.
Achievement unlocked. It's hard to do. Kate Blanchett is a 3-man thanks to Song and The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well deserved. I feel like it's humanizing of
I want
Blanchett.
to be like, what's the opposite of a broken clock is right twice a day? A working
best
clock
clock.
fucks up twice a day, you know?
Twice a day it just goes insane.
Okay, no, wait, I'm getting it. A perfectly functional clock is still wrong twice a year when the clocks change.
Ah, there you go. That'll do.
Kate Blanchett is right, but occasionally the world changes around her and she is mistakenly in the wrong place at the wrong time making a movie she should never have been there.
This was the right project for Kate Blanchett. What was wrong was everyone else in the project.
Everyone and everything else.
So, Bex, you stupid helmet.
Yeah.
What's one thing about Borderlands that made you feel yours was bigger?
Well, you know, I think I texted you about this before it had come out.
Yes, you had. This was a very
I think
early
I
booking.
watched the trailer and I said, Paul, this is going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
And we should probably talk about it.
Yep. And you were... Yeah.
I
that
went to
was
go
fair.
and see it with my friend. Now, you know what? Let me give you a quick rundown on
Yes,
how I
please.
feel about Borderlands.
Okay.
I did not start gaming until I was a whole grown adult because
Okay.
I was at boarding school
Fair.
until I was 16, and then I was busy thinking that getting into Oxford was the most important thing that could happen to anybody ever.
Fair.
And then at about age 20, I made some friends on the internet and they said, hey, we think you're really going to enjoy this game.
This is
And
how
so
it
I
happens,
sat down,
parents.
And the first game I played that wasn't like a kind of Zoo Tycoon-esque, you know, thing I played on like a big chunky 90s PC in my dad's office was Borderlands 2. And I fell in love with it so hard. It
Yay.
was my first experience of gaming. And since then, I have been playing it essentially non-stop.
Yeah.
I love Borderlands so much that I love the Borderlands games that the other Borderlands fans don't. I'll defend Borderlands 3 to the death, man. I think it was great. I think you're all I think you're all being stupid. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the story, and I thought it was very funny that the bad guys were a couple of annoying YouTubers. I think that was commentary. So yeah, I mean, I love and adore it.
Amazing.
And
what is it that you like about the games? Is it the gameplay, the world, the universe, the characters?
Yes.
Okay.
Simply yes. I love the punchy visual style.
Uh-huh.
I love the humor. Mm-hmm. I love the characters. I love the often surprisingly genuine and quite moving story beats that you don't expect. It's very... And listen, I'm sure someone's gonna tweet you after this and be like, Becs doesn't know what they're talking about because here's all the awful things who've made the film have done. And yes, Randy Pitchford, you're a piece of crap, but surprisingly LGBTQ friendly. And just a lot of good stupid fun in there. I mean, and the pre-sequel, for instance, is set on a shitty moon that's not the main planet. And when you get there, the shitty moon is just Australia.
Love that.
And I think that was funny.
That is good.
You arrive and a lesbian greets you and is like, hey, you're in Borderlands, Australia now. So yeah, I mean, it's a good part nostalgia. It's a good part that it's just very fun. It's this kind of game where, you shoot things to get better guns, to shoot things to get better guns. I find a lot of satisfaction in that. So it means and has meant a lot to me over the years, and this movie felt like it took a giant steaming shit on my front doorstep and then wanted me to say thank you.
Yeah, good. I mean, the good news is, apart from that gameplay loop, which unfortunately can't be replicated here, all the other things that you love, the gameplay, the story, the characters, the humor, the moving moments, they're all here.
Don't.
They're all in this movie for years.
Don't.
And as someone who's never played Borderlands, I really feel like I get what it's about now.
Don't. I can and will leave the Zoom call.
She's requesting permission to leave, folks. I can see it on my counter
Requesting
somehow.
permission? No, I'm just out of here. I'll burn down this flat if I have to.
Which one?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, no! All right, well, look. Let's step away from that particular precipice and talk about what goes on inside of Borderlands the movie. I miss the days when people call things the movie.
The movie.
I like that. Borderlands the movie. Imagine it, guys. It's going to be incredible. Lydia Tarr explains the concept of the movie/game, I assume. You're going to have to tell me how far this deviates.
Buzzer! Immediate buzzer!
Amidst the clouds of chaos, a glimmer of hope shone through. A prophecy that one day a daughter of Iridia would open the vault and restore order to the broken planet. Yeah, that sounds like some wacko BS, right? Well, I thought so too, until...
Minus 1,000 points for not having Marcus do the intro, which he does on all the games.
Now, which one's
So,
Marcus?
you want to hear a story. He's the guy who sells guns and drives the
Oh,
bus.
okay, right. Okay. Well, I love that character.
Yeah, he's great. And the traditional Borderlands framing device is Marcus. So, you want to hear a story. And you get this cool cinematic, and then it punches into a really cool Borderlands song, and someone gets run over. So immediate minus 1,000 points by having Cate Blanchett do it. Like, I love her. Don't get me wrong, but fuck you. I wish I'd brought an actual buzzer.
Look, the thing I love about it is that it ends with her saying wacko BS, and I love that. It's so irreverent and funny.
Yeah.
It's not what you'd expect from a narrator, you see.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Right, well, there's a prison break. I can't remember anything that happened, I've just realised. Tiny Tina is locked up, and so gets broken out by Kevin Hart. And also, is this where they pick up one of the...
Krieg, my boy, one of my top 2 Borderlands characters.
One of my top 2 boys.
Did to my boy.
What they did to him. It's terribly distressing. and yet.
I'll tell you all about him later, okay? He's a very complex character.
Good. I'm glad. In this, he's like... Well, in that case, he's even more like Bane from Batman and Robin then, which he did remind me of, and I think that's a fitting comparison.
I'll just say very briefly, in the game, he's a playable character.
Ah.
He's one of the playable characters. He's the one that I always play in Borderlands 2. And he is a sane man trapped inside that psycho's body. So he has a very sane academic inner monologue, whilst outwardly the psycho that is now his body is screaming, "I'm the conductor of the poop train."
Love that.
It's very touching and meaningful. And in this, he's big. So anyway.
He's very big and he loves the little girl. So it's all good. I say little girl. This is a woman in her late 20s.
Sure.
So Galadriel is a bounty hunter in this world. She shoots some people because that's pretty much what she does in every scene, and then she gets recruited by Tiny Tina's dad to go get her off of Pandora, a planet in which a whole bunch of people fight each other because there's a very powerful vault there that contains alien technology that will make them even more advanced than they are now, because they already found one of the vaults on a different world? Is that it?
Is that what they said? I don't know. I blacked out.
I don't think that's what they said, but somehow I thought I read somewhere that they already have advanced technology from some other place.
So
what's the company called? Atlas?
So Atlas. So the way Borderlands works, right, is that there's all these different companies and they all make guns, and so you can have and they're each different. So, for instance, Jacob's guns are really high crit, and they'll do a thing where, like, if you kill an enemy with a headshot, the bullet will ricochet into another one. And then you've got Hyperion weapons, which are I hate, which get more accurate the longer you fire them. Or you've got Tediore weapons, which explode when you you throw them like a grenade when you reload them. So they're just all these like companies, and Atlas is one of these companies that for some reason they stuck in this film, even though it made the least sense of any of the companies to have that, but you know what? Fine, whatever.
Now,
so
one of the
they're like a
I
weapons technology company. So they have the normal amount of technology, but if they can find the Iridian Vault, they'll have all this lost. Well, I mean, in the game, it's obviously just full of fucking treasure.
Right. But in this, it's powerful space
In this, it's
weapons.
full of cubes. I don't know.
Cubes and power and awesome responsibility
and tentacles,
for
which is correct.
Okay. I like that they've got that. Now, the top-rated review on Google by a Traven Piper said, in relation to that, I love that Atlas was the villains because Hyperion wasn't even docked at Pandora when the movie takes place.
I mean, I guess you're not wrong if we're accepting that this exists in the timeline of the games, which I'm not. Because nothing makes sense in that case.
This is all canon.
Because, like, Lilith and Roland met in Borderlands 1 and Krieg doesn't show up till Borderlands 2. So, what's going on there?
I am just an average man from...
I think...
from the street.
The thing is,
I don't know what any of this means.
Borderlands 2 has what I would call, unironically, the most iconic villain. Full stop.
Right.
Handsome Jack is just so top tier that there's nothing you can fucking do about it. And I think they were too pussy to try and put him in, so they went, it can't be Hyperion.
Okay.
And the reason that nobody likes Borderlands 3 is because Handsome Jack isn't in it, because they made a villain so incredible that everything after that seemed a little bit shit.
Ah, the Far Cry syndrome.
Yeah.
And that guy didn't even make it to the end of his game.
Yeah.
So that's always...
They milked Handsome Jack as far as they could.
Awkward.
But yeah, they were too pussy to put him in the movie, and that's why it's not Hyperion, frankly.
Well, look, she reads the script for a while, and then catches an expository bus. She gets to Pandora, by the way, and then catches an expository bus that would be quite effective if they hadn't already explained this at least once.
Yeah, this movie really over-explains everything to you all of the time. The bus is... So the bus... The thing is, everything in this movie is supposed to be like a fun Easter egg for people who like Borderlands. But in fact,
love that.
Every single one made me angry. But the bus ride is how you start a lot of the games. Well, is that you're on the bus with Marcus, and he drives you into...
Yeah.
be a Vault Hunter.
Yeah, it felt super like an intro to happen 20 minutes into this movie.
Yeah, a really long time in.
Oh boy, a Jack Black robot. Ew.
Yeah. And as I mentioned to you before the call, you had not one, but two perfectly good voice actors who could have done this, because they had one amazing voice actor and then randomly fired him because he uncovered Randy Pitchford doing a fraud.
Look.
Allegedly.
Randomly turning on colleagues is not something that Jack Black knows of anything about, so
No!
he's perfect for this. Now, what note did I start here and then presumably not finish? Oh, yeah, okay, it's just randomly capitalized, because I think one of the many, many gunfights occurs, and I just write the note. It's so badass how bloodless this all is.
This really, to be Borderlands, this really needed to be R-rated or whatever the fucking equivalent is.
A couple of people had goes at that. Didn't work out. Then you get Tim Miller in. Tim Miller is well known for having directed an R-rated movie, goddammit. Why is this? So, the robot helps her find her daughter. Find the daughter, sorry.
I was going to say, no, not her daughter.
I don't know. I'm barely conscious at this point. And the film experiments with tone for a while, and I once again wonder if I'm ever going to get a chance to see Tank Girl and see how favourably it compares to all of this. We really fucked up when Furiosa came out, and we didn't cover that.
Yeah.
Feels like we blew a tire.
You call that a plan?
It worked, didn't it? Feel free to applaud.
Yay for not dying!
They're a team. Who's in the team? Who's here?
So, it's Roland.
Kevin
It's
Hart.
Lilith.
Who's Lilith again? Is
Kate
that
Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, okay.
Tiny Tina.
Okay, the woman in her 40s.
The woman in her 40s. It's Krieg.
Okay, that's Bane.
Yeah, and Claptrap. I mean, Claptrap's kind of just always there in the games, but he's a
Tenacious
playable
Zero.
character in the pre-sequel.
Okay, love that. So they're a team. And yeah, they have another action scene. They all yell some clips, get peed on a bit, have another action scene. Are we done? 30 minutes in? Oh, that's devastating. That's really brutal. Oh, man.
It is, and it is, you know what? It's devastating how little happens in this film.
Oh, God. What I just said covers us. It covers us for quite a while. They go to a town, Muse is playing, which is very upsetting. They visit, Muse sold out? Oh my God.
Unlike when they were in Twilight.
That was pure prestige. That was well and truly part of their brand. Yeah, they go and visit I think it's one of, who has the contact? They go see Gina Gershon. Is that
Moxie, yeah.
Okay, they go see her, and of course she's wearing that, and of course she's doing an accent.
You probably don't remember me, but I sure remember you. Your mama was a good woman.
Yeah, well, wouldn't know. All right, so where is this scientist?
So this is where you're headed. You know, all the way up those stairs, and right there is the elevator. Mm-hmm. Push the button. Passcode's Echo.
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 You sure it's safe to stay there?
Yeah, as long as this one here don't blow up the joint. How's that milkshake there, Sugar Pie? Listen, for whatever it's worth, I'm real happy that you came back home. And I hope that you know how much your mama loved you. She always told me how special you were.
No, I appreciate the help. Let's just leave it at that.
I wasn't, well, so I guess the only defense I could give him is, yeah, Moxie sure does wear that. And she doesn't have that accent, but she does have a nice voice that at some point you find out is put on. When you accidentally discover her in the back of her bar in like mechanics gear, looking less sexy, singing bubbles and birds, bubbles and birds.
I can imagine Gina Gershon doing that.
But Moxie is very much, I mean, she wears that full face of makeup. Her tits are, I mean, she didn't have enough tit, if I'm being entirely honest with you.
Okay. Googling.
Fan favorite. Fan favorite Moxie with 3 X's.
I love that for Moxie. At this stage, Jamie Lee Curtis shows up. How are we feeling about that Oscar, everyone?
Oh, God. Okay, yeah.
Still great?
So she's playing Tannis, another character that they just fucking... Did you just Google Moxie?
Yeah.
some great cosplays out there. That's all I'll tell you.
Yeah, that was literally the very next thing.
Let me just type cosplay onto the end of this search. Yeah, she's playing Patricia Tannis, another fave who got done dirty. She's supposed to have been, like, driven insane by all sorts of torture and is like, genuinely nutso, but they just made her, like, Hollywood autistic instead.
She's kooky.
She's Hollywood autistic.
I love that for her.
That's what Hollywood executives think all autistic people are like.
Oh my god, are all of the Borderlands cosplays like this, where they've sort of gone around key features in order to make them look more cartoony? That's so crazy.
Yes. Borderlands cosplayers are hot shit, and I want to personally kiss every single one of them on the mouth. It's so cool, dude.
That's a good ambition. Yeah, it turns out she was supposed to look after Blanchett, but she then neglected her, and she ended up falling in with a bad gang. Oh, it's Guardians! They're trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it now. So, they escape, they go into a sewer, there's another action scene. Jesus. We've had low-energy plot rundowns before, but I have never been this unenthusiastic about relating all of this inconsequential shit.
So, Caustic Caverns... is an area in Borderlands that in Borderlands 2.
Okay. It was nice. It was a visually different area of the movie.
I mean, sure. What really got me, though, was the bit where they said nothing can survive this acid except the natural crystals that grow down here. And then we didn't see a single fucking crystal. It was just a sewer.
Yeah.
Like, were you going to add those in post and then you couldn't be bothered? Like,
nobody passed that post-it onto the effects guys.
And that was, I'm guessing, like a callback to, there are these big, like, enemies in Caustic Caverns that are like these big, like, kind of three-legged things, and they've got crystals all up their legs, and you've got to shoot out the crystals before you can kill them. And I guess they were just kind of referring to that, but also I need it stressed that the Caustic Caverns is not just a fucking sewer. It's not like a one small sewer. It's a whole thing.
Look,
listen, I'm angry about everything.
Who the fuck knows when that line was written, which author put it in, which director then shot the scene, what that was supposed to lead into, what was going to happen next. This could have been from a different movie.
Also, and I just need to highlight this, when they are like, oh, here's the entrance to the Caustic Caverns, and it's just a manhole cover that's covered with one discrete, weird pile of garbage that's nowhere else.
Yeah.
Krieg pulls off a giant sheet of metal, and it literally flops. Like, it's quite clearly foam.
Love that. Love that for this movie. That's the kind of magic that we haven't seen in movies since canon film went under.
Anyway, they spend way too fucking long trying to fight their way out of Caustic Caverns, and the movie then tries to take an emotional beat that it has not earned, but doesn't trust you to sit with it, so is immediately like, he's not dead though.
Oh yeah, that's right. Kevin Hart ends up getting stuck down there.
He's fine though. He's fine. Yeah, he literally popped up looking fresh as a daisy.
Yeah, but just Jesus, a little bit of blood would help so much with all of this. Just any... Oh, God. Anyway, enough of that emotional moment. Let's have another emotional confrontation, because Tina wants to kill her dad. But then she finds out that Blanchett's been working for him, so she gives her the slip and makes off. So she goes off with Jamie Lee Curtis and Bane.
Yes.
Yeah, using her many plot-convenient explosive teddy bears that she has.
And, well, again, game accurate. You do receive a lot of rabbits whose asses blow up from Tina.
Well, it's handy because if ever you have a question of how do we further the plot here, just do that.
Rabbit.
Yeah. Oh God. Anyway, they go off and they find where I guess the vault is, because they say something like, "This must have been one of the original settlements," whilst looking at shit that looks exactly the same as every other place on this fucking planet.
Yeah. Well, no, you've mixed up two bits.
What's happening here?
They go to a quarry.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of holes Kate Blanchett goes somewhere, and Claptrap says this must have been one of the original settlements.
Oh, really? So
That's
Kate
not where the vault
Oh,
is. They're
okay.
different places.
What do they get there? That's right. They go there.
That's where Kate Blanchett finds a drawing that she did as a child. Finds out that she's the Firehawk, and then we have to undergo the longest montage of stuff you've just seen, in case you haven't fucking figured it out yet. You absolute idiot.
It turns out that's right. When I say they, I need to keep track of which they are because they split the party. Damn it. And it was the original party who went and found this. Because, yes, it turns out that Pandora... that she's Rey. Kate Blanchett is Rey, it turns out. And so she's got all of the destiny to be had. And, yeah, so they find the lock, which is... again, the other team, find the lock to the vault. Which is so in the open, it's absolutely baffling no one else has found it. It's literally glowing a little bit.
Yeah.
At night, that must be very distinctive.
I mean, we could be generous and say maybe it's just glowing because they've got the key. But I don't want to be generous.
But
so
they ain't got Blanchett. But, Tiny Tina thinks that she's the chosen one, incidentally.
Yeah.
And so does everyone else. So they put the key in and she stands there. But oh no, the dad is here! With some of the same freaks we've been fighting this whole movie. Oh no, so intimidating.
Just another tiny like I'm trying not to I mean, and by trying I mean I'm doing a stellar fucking job at not listing everything specifically that's pissing me off as a fan of the games.
Love that.
But they said, hey, Crom is gonna be in this. Now he's like a boss. He's one of the boss battles.
Okay.
And at the end of the movie I was like, hey, Crom wasn't in this. And then when I went and looked it up, Crom was in this battle, apparently, but it wasn't fucking Crom. It was Mouthpiece from Borderlands 3. Like, you can't just go slapping somebody else's design on and naming them something from one of the other movies. Fuck you. What the fuck, dude?
It's outrageous. They have pillaged this noble community of gamers and their rich lore. I guess the commander of the armed forces was secretly in love with Kevin Hart, but she dies, so don't worry about it.
She gets vaporized.
She's vaporized almost immediately. What a tragic end to her story.
They ruined her as well. She's an actual character. Continue.
Good for that. That does make more sense of why she's here at all. Because otherwise...
So here's the thing, is that I think she was General Knox, right?
Yes.
I think in Borderlands, General Knox is a dude.
Well, good stuff. You like to see it. Unless Commander Knox is in a relationship with the Kevin Hart character, in which case that's clear erasure.
Let me just pop a picture in the chat, and you can.
You're gonna send me a picture of the person who's trying to romance Roland.
But there you go.
Okay, so yeah, that is an interesting love interest for Roland.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. I'm here for that relationship to play out. But unfortunately,
also, sorry, I did really bad podcast etiquette there, and I was typing while I was talking, so you can't get rid of the typing sounds. Sorry.
Enjoy that, and I'm going to look forward to heightening that for our listeners so that they can understand the fury with which you were quickly finding more information to try and blow this apart. But yes, Blanchett is the chosen one, so she becomes Super Tar and kills everyone. And the bad guys get into the vault, and it's full of abstract, floaty blocks, and then it gets eaten by a squid. I'm done with this. Our heroes, that's the end, basically. The heroes all gather and watch some fireworks. Oh, they've come so far together. They've learned so much about each other. And...
There's a half second of two beloved Borderlands characters that makes me... I wrote the note, this made me want to die, actually. Because even in that half-second cameo, I was like, nope, you get your filthy mitts off of Ellie and Scooter, or I swear to God.
Look, I didn't notice that because I was just so enamored with this climax to our story because I just didn't expect to love these knuckleheads so much.
Gosh, aren't they such a found family who love each other?
I can't believe they found each other. And that's the end of the movie. It ends, she goes Super Sentai again, and then that's it. Okay. So, what did you think?
So, there was a moment in the cinema where I just straight up slid off my chair and onto the popcorn-covered floor.
Now, were you in 40X?
No. Otherwise, I would have fallen to my death. And my friend kind of reached out and touched me on the shoulder and said, "Are you good?" And I said a little bit too loudly, "Obviously not." But it didn't matter because there was no one in the fucking screening.
You're on this cursed screen.
It was here's what I'll say.
Oh.
It was an insult to the intelligence of people who haven't seen Borderlands, and a slap who haven't played Borderlands, and a slap in the face to anyone who had played Borderlands. They pleased specifically nobody.
No. Yeah.
It
absolutely.
was boring. It dragged on. It was so clumsy. Storyline was stupid and really didn't make a lot of sense. They took what is an incredibly distinct IP with a very specific sense of humor and aesthetic and manner of doing things and said, what if it didn't do any of that? Then cast entirely the wrong people and said, good enough.
Yeah. It's bleak. It's a bleak experience.
I think my main annoyance with it looked so fucking cheap.
Yes, it did. It looked incredibly cheap.
And then at one point, all the Crimson Lance turn up. They're not wearing real armor. They're wearing, like, cloth bodysuits with, like, armor printed on it, like they're footy pajamas.
Look, I'm kind of on board with that, because I really miss the days of really cheap rubbish science fiction that we've covered on this podcast many a times before. Menahem Golem and Yoram Globus territory.
I mean, I wouldn't have minded if they'd leaned into it. Or if they'd had any actual budgetary constraints.
Sure. Yeah, it might have explained it a bit more, but nope, that money all went solidly to Kevin Hart and Jack Black, I'm afraid.
Basically, in case you can't tell, I'm upset.
That's fair. Look, it's very distressing to have a property that you care a great deal about adapted. Because adaptation is destruction, inevitably.
Yeah.
Because even when you're adapting a screenplay, an original screenplay to the screen, you destroy it, you tear it apart. You know, if you just film what's on the page, all you'll have done is filmed a screenplay, not made a movie. And so that kind of flexibility is often needed. But if every change you've made has been in the name of making something marketable, because my God, does this feel like, story-wise, it feels like an Albert Pune film. He directed movies like Cyborg of Jean-Claude Van Damme. In the 90s.
Sure, yeah.
It feels like that, story-wise, but everything about the characters, the comedy, the visual language feels like this is squarely aimed at a Marvel audience. Yeah. And it's a distressing reminder
Once again, Marvel, you're ruining cinema.
Yeah,
stop it.
It's a disturbing reminder of where blockbuster entertainment is right now in terms of where the hackery is. I find the hackery is quite a good mirror to hold up to the mainstream, to be like, this is what people who have no talent are achieving in ripping you off, and what does it say about what they were trying to do? Because what does it look like if they nailed this particular film? Like, it would just, oh Jesus. It's depressing.
I mean, and like, okay, let me just go through and comment on some things which I can't save because they're not good things.
Sure.
But do need to be said. This film has some of the least convincing ADR I've ever heard.
Yep.
I'm thinking very specifically of at the beginning when Cate Blanchett is leading a prisoner with a hood on down the steps, and that man is clearly just standing there with a microphone saying his lines off camera. Borderlands has some of the most iconic visual gun designs.
Yeah, sure.
And they were all just fucking guns. One of them, they did one moment with the Vladoff Infinity pistol where it spun around in a cool way, but everything was mud-coloured.
Yes, there were two guns I thought looked quite good, and I think they were both in Kevin Hart's possession.
There are so many, like, later, just Google it. Just Google Borderlands best guns and just take a look at some of them. Just have a nice time in it,
I've heard, I think at one point I was watching a sort of outside Xbox listicle about I think it was about weird side missions that you shouldn't actually finish, and one of them was you get given a talking gun that gives you a mission that if you complete it, the gun gets worse or something like that.
Yeah. That's probably, well, there's a couple of those, but there's one in the pre-sequel called the Boganella, which is an aggressively bogan gun that just insults you in the most Australian way possible every time you shoot.
Love that.
Yeah. The humor was simply absent. It was just, I didn't crack a smile.
No, it was seriously, I mean, that's the whole thing, is it's not funny, it's not exciting, and it's not interesting. Yeah. So that really is your bases covered here.
Also, my God, could you just like see the reshoots? Because the continuity was for shit.
Oh, sure.
Everyone's covered in piss. Nobody's covered in piss.
Yep.
Everyone's covered in piss.
Yeah.
People's clothes are like torn and then they're whole and then they're torn. Like,
yeah.
And I don't usually pick up on this kind of stuff, you know, like because unless it's like a fun thing that it becomes like kind of, you know, like legend in the way of like, you know, when you're watching Lord of the Rings and everyone goes, did you know Viggo Mortensen broke his toe when he kicked that helmet?
Wait, what?
Like the coffee cup in Game of Thrones or whatever, you know?
Yep, iconic.
But like it was so glaringly there that it was like took me out. There were buckets and buckets and buckets of game references.
Yeah.
And every single one I saw made me resent the movie a little bit more. Like, no, you can't buy me by having a Face McShooty poster.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
it. They're going for lazy.
A great side mission where you go and find a man called Face McShooty who asks you to shoot him in the face. And that's the side mission.
Sure. I mean, that's it, though. It's this cheap currency. You know, they can use that to keep... Yeah.
You can't do this. And then, one of my big peeves with it is that it really did treat its audience like they were fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And I just think that is a sin that cannot be forgiven.
Yeah.
Of not trusting your audience enough to watch what is not a film that needs explaining.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, that's the problem with this. And I think when you adapt a game in particular, you need to think to yourself, why do people like this game?
Yeah.
You need to come to terms, because what used to happen back in the 90s when, you know, people didn't know what to do with video game stuff is actually basically this, which is that they would make a generic genre film and then take character designs
the characters
and
over
character names and put it over it. That's how you get Super Mario Brothers. It's how you got things like Twin Dragons, I think, other 90s like adaptations. Just put the names and the stuff in there. As time goes on, you end up with sort of some things where it's like slavishly adherent to the story or the lore of it without understanding that actually nobody cares about the story or lore. It's actually the gameplay that people like. You know, you see that happening a fair amount these days. With this, like, I think with Borderlands, you need to look at it and say, okay, people actually like the story and characters enough that they will play and presumably make successful a spin-off series of games that does not feature the gameplay mechanic at all that it is known for. That shows that it's versatile. And that there is a film that you potentially could make here. But you have to try and get to the heart of what makes it popular.
I mean,
otherwise
especially
you're
because
just exploiting
Telltale
fans.
games are kind of like little interactive movies, dude.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You just tell a story and people have a little bit of wiggle room within that story.
Yeah?
I don't know, man.
No, I know. It's disappointing because it does feel like with all the people involved, once it starts to get like that with constant rewrites and such, it feels to me like one of those productions where there's not a vision and basically the rewrites are happening because the producers are actually coming in and like a football, you know, trying to get it to keep up with a speeding train of you know, movie discourse. They're just coming in and kicking it every now and then with a new writer to be like, oh shit, make this more like Deadpool. Okay, oh, Deadpool isn't big anymore. Make this more like, you know, the next Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh shit, that's not big anymore. Make it more like, and it just gets added pile on pile on pile on.
For sure.
Very much like the production of Duke Nukem Forever, which when it finally came out felt like an amalgam of everything that had happened in gaming since its production had started.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. It's depressing and annoying and kind of an interesting little time capsule because a lot of the reviews I saw did say this is like a throwback gaming adaptation to remind you of how bad it has been. Because I don't know where we're at in terms of the well-regarded video game adaptations. I mean,
Sonic's doing pretty well.
The Sonic trilogy might be the best set of video game adaptations out there. What else? There was something else recent that was the Detective Pikachu. I think was well regarded enough.
Oh, sure.
God, what else is there?
I don't know. Let me Google video game movies and see what comes up.
There is Warcraft, which one day...
Don't worry, we're going to mention it again today.
We are coming to Warcraft. Don't you worry about it, folks at home.
Oh, dreadful. Ready Player One came up. Ooh.
Five Nights at Freddy's. Ugh. Uncharted. Oh, dear.
Monster Hunter.
The Mortal Kombat movie, I think, was fine. No, okay. There's no classics here. There's
Yeah.
no, like, one of the best movies of all time or something that people hold dear to their hearts. What's upcoming? A Minecraft movie that I saw a trailer for, and Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
God, yeah.
Jack Black's back, everyone!
Blech.
They're adapting Until Dawn, which is interesting, because that game is very much like an interactive movie. We're getting another Mortal Kombat, another Five Nights at Freddy's, a Street Fighter. Is it an anime? If it's not, then... Legendary Entertainment. Yeah, okay, fine. Whatever. Yeah, it's still a bleak time. It's still a bleak time for video game adaptations because I don't... A Comic Zone... I'm closing this down. That's insane. Go home, Google, you're drunk. Yeah, it's a difficult endeavor, I think. It's very difficult to sort of please fans of this kind of thing whilst also presenting something that will be accessible because games have a lot more time, and you also have to factor in, will your premise survive having the interactive element taken away? Yeah. Is this game fun to just watch someone else play? I think is a good starting point, and if it is, what's fun about it? You know, because the Hitman games always come to mind, because when they adapted Hitman, they turned them into generic action movies that happen to have a bald guy in it. Whereas what you needed to do with the Hitman movie is make it Final Destination, but the invisible force of death is played by a bald guy with a stern expression. Jason Statham. Yeah. Basically.
Jason Statham.
Yeah. Jason Statham
we were
hilariously...
all thinking it.
He did a movie, what was it called? Killer Elite, I think. The one with Robert De Niro in it.
Yeah.
Where he, in one point, disguises himself as a doctor. I think he actually Hitman style knocks someone out and takes their lab coat, and he's just Jason Statham in a coat. And it's hilarious, and that's what you need with the Hitman movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Keep doing it and keep having him take funnier and funnier costumes and causing more and more camp deaths. You know,
I would watch the absolute shit out of that.
Yeah. I mean, everybody remembers the iconic one, which is in one of the games, I think it was Hitman Contracts, there was a pervert FBI agent who would regularly go in and sniff the panty drawer of the family he was meant to be guarding, so you could go in and poison the panties so that when he came in and sniffed them, he would die. Come on.
Incredible.
Who isn't watching that?
Incredible.
That's the kind of thing you need to start putting in these movies. But the same, you know, Borderlands the same. Like, you just needed to find what is it in here. And I think just try and capture the humor. I don't know what the writers of the games were doing, if they were available at all to write this. Like, God.
I don't know. Maybe they're still working on Borderlands 4. It's been a
Maybe.
long time coming.
God. Just try and figure it out.
It's been a long time coming, and I'm not yet convinced by it. I mean, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it.
Is it this year?
Yes.
This is a bit of a stacked year. I feel like last year, there were lots of great games out, but there was less to sort of excite. What I'm saying is there's fewer franchise games came out last year, which is, unfortunately, for someone who hasn't really got their eye on the ball, what speaks to me most is stuff that speaks to my nostalgia. But this year there's a lot of sequels coming out. But I'm going to try and get back into gaming. Starting with the Borderlands collection.
Borderlands. It's on, baby. Yeah, I mean, to anyone out there who hasn't played Borderlands and is looking to have a better experience than this movie, I mean, you inherently will. And also, maybe I'm biased, but start with Borderlands 2.
I was about to ask that. Where's the best place to start? You think 2?
Well, I mean, okay, it depends what kind of person you are, right? If you're the kind of person who can't go backwards, if you like, you know, once you've played a game, then going back to a previous one that's maybe a bit clunkier.
Yeah, I would argue against that because, like, I have a friend who bought the Mass Effect trilogy. Now, Mass Effect 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. But they were playing Mass Effect 1 and struggled so badly that they walked away and never went back. Now, Mass Effect 1 has real issues with it. It is extraordinarily clunky. I played Mass Effect 2 first, the year it came out, because it made a whole bunch of year-end lists. So I just played it without having played Mass Effect 1, figuring, screw it, I'll catch up. And that made it my favourite game of all time.
Generally, games are pretty good at doing that.
Assassin's Creed? Don't play Assassin's Creed 1.
Jesus. Don't play The Witcher 1 first.
No, oh my god, no, I did that.
I also did that
No.
and was so thrown off by accidentally having sex with so many women by just accidentally saying something nice to them and then getting like a Pokemon card of them with their tits out that I was like, maybe this franchise Not for me.
Oh god, no! I'm just having flashbacks to the amount of time I spent in the sewers. Oh no!
Don't start with Dragon Age Origins.
Oh god! Look, sometimes go to the sequel. You can't take a novelistic approach to video games.
I say the first Borderlands game is worth playing. I just don't necessarily think it should be your entrance to the franchise.
Sure.
I would recommend starting with Borderlands 2. It's the universally most beloved. It's the strongest of them all. It has, as I said, the best villain ever written. I don't mean in video games. I just mean full stop. And you're gonna have a good time. If you do not have a good time in Borderlands 2, then this is simply not the franchise for you, and you've got to walk away.
Video games are not for you. Try football.
And we can't be friends.
We can't be friends anymore.
But yeah, start with Borderlands 2, and then go from there.
Love it. Well, I think we've pretty much said all we can about Borderlands, so let's get into the quick firing. Quick fire. Pew, pew. I have 5, you have 4, so if I go first...
I can make it stretch.
Okay.
4 is generous.
Look, I'm going to go first to show you the caliber of thing we're dealing with here. When Kevin Hart first appears in this movie, he's wearing a helmet, and he's breathing in it, and it's doing the Darth Vader breathing, but then suddenly the breathing gets more and more intense, and he has to whip the mask off and says, "God damn!" And that amused me slightly.
God damn! There's no air holes in there. What a stupid helmet.
Yeah, there's no air holes in this thing.
Yeah, that was a line too far. We got the idea, but...
Yeah, they really... Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Okay,
moment.
well, my first good thing is that the runtime not that long.
No! I was relieved.
Hour and 40.
Yeah, thank God.
Not bad. This is the caliber of good things I'm looking at.
Well, okay, a few seconds later... hold on, it's the PS3 has just started up, and I allow that violin string moment to crescendo and close. Thank you, PS3. Welcome to the meeting. The point when she says, "What did he send his shortest soldier to save me?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's right, to save his least funny daughter." Again, kind of liked it.
Banter.
Bants, good bants for me, and that is seldom seen.
The bartender that Cate Blanchett is talking to is really fucking hot.
Love that.
She is smoking.
Look, we're all Googling. It's going to be hard not having a character name. We're just going to do Borderlands 2024 bartender.
And it's gonna come up with Moxie, and that's not who I mean.
Look, is it Paula Andrea Placido as bartender? Photo. Yes, I think so.
That's her.
There
Fuck
she
me. Holy shit.
Literally. Ooh.
Yeah, please.
Ooh.
I'm begging you.
What's this you're in with Colin Farrell? I always forget the name. From Sugar.
Sugar.
Add
Which
to-
I will be going and watching.
Add to watch list. Okay. Interesting. They've had a bit of a career. They were in the L Word.
They sure were.
This L Word.
They were in this lesbian. Am I right?
Please. Okay. We all know the badass slinky walk that badass female characters need to walk. Need to do. I thought Blanchett's version was quite amusing and good. I liked it. I like the way she's really throwing her hips into it. I don't know why. I feel like, did you show me the whole that they swapped the models in Batman Arkham Knight, I think it was, so that Batman would walk like Catwoman does, and it's the funniest thing.
I don't know if I showed you, but I have certainly seen it.
It's very good.
If I did show you, it's because I saw it on Tumblr. I've never played that game.
But it's like the what do you call it? The Hawkeye project.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good
Sometimes
stuff.
you really just got to call attention to that bullshit.
Yeah. But nevertheless, even though it is bullshit, I thought Cate Blanchett did it very well.
Something else Cate Blanchett did very well. There is a bit when in that interminable car chase,
Yep.
where Kevin Hart says "you drive" and she says to Claptrap "you drive," and then she opens the door and she gets her foot and slams it up against the top of the door to keep it open. So she's doing this wide-legged split out of a moving car while she's shooting things, and you know what?
Good
It
for
was
her.
hot.
Good for her.
It was hot.
Look, we've all established how competency is very sexy. Being able to slam a door open with your leg, that's pretty competent.
Yeah.
That's the level of car literacy that we can all only aspire to.
Yeah.
Look, some of the sets were very cheap, but I do appreciate that almost all of them looked to be practical. There was an awful lot of very real spaces in this.
Carefully painted foam. Yeah.
Again, carefully is key. The love was there.
The thing is, it really did scream careful, but in the way of someone who's painting minis for the first time. In that, like, you appreciate the effort that went in, but you think it would have actually looked better if you'd tried less. This is supposed to look like shit, but you've carefully added rust to everything, and now it looks too uniform.
That's fair.
Some of the creature designs were good. They had some skags in there. They had some racks in there. They had various nods to Borderlands creatures that ended up being okay.
I love that. Yeah, some of them did. Yeah, I enjoyed some of the creature designs, even if they were the big old CGI bollocks. My last one is the graphics at the end. I thought the end credits had the art style vaguely reminiscent of the game.
So these like punchy things where it comes through with like Kevin Hart as Roland.
Yeah.
You get every time you'll be mid cutscene with a boss, and it will like whack in the name on the text and then an amusing subtitle, right? Like the General Knox one I showed you. He'll be saying something, and then it will kind of like freeze frame him, push forward the name General Knox, and then stamp on "doesn't like Mondays" underneath, and then you're suddenly in a boss fight.
Love that.
And they could have done so much of that, and they just straight didn't.
Look, I'm going to encourage you to share what's left of yours whilst I trim some irritating parts of my mustache.
Very fair. Just with a straight up giant pair of scissors. That's so bold. Not even like a little pair of nail scissors or something. My God.
All I have.
Okay, so my last one good thing is that I saw pictures from set of beloved gay couple from this film. There's actually a whole Lovecraftian DLC about their wedding. Hammerlock and Jacobs.
Who are they?
And my one good thing is that they fucking cut them from the movie and didn't do them the disgrace of putting them in. They're not even mentioned, and my God, am I glad. Jacobs is the heir to the Jacobs gun empire.
Okay.
And Sir Hammerlock is a kind of very old-fashioned, kind of Victorian-esque explorer who wants you to go and kill things, god damn it. And they fall in beautiful love. Aww. And there's the DLC is called Guns, Love and Tentacles. You gotta go to their wedding, but Lovecraftian shit is going down. And you gotta plan their wedding and deal with the Lovecraftian shit. And it's great. And the set photos of those actors who they got to play them, no disrespect to the actors, but physically pained me.
Oh, no.
So, real glad that they weren't in it. That's my last one good thing.
Hooray! Okay, good. Let's get into what? The OG team, if I can find literally anything at all that isn't about Santa with muscles.
There's definitely Facebook comments, because there were already Facebook comments when I commented on it.
Good. I'm glad to see that most of our almost 2,000 followers, most of whom I assume are porn bots, and hey,
would you like me to read it? I've got it out.
All right, you read it, but thank you very much to the porn bots who follow us on Twitter.
Aww.
You're the real heroes,
So
guys.
did you say Borderlands last year? Say something nice about it. And I commented and said, no, shan't. And I have fulfilled that promise by not saying anything nice about it.
True.
You got 2 comments from Paul Hawkins.
Ooh, I haven't heard from Paul Hawkins in a little bit.
1, they got the wildlife right.
Okay.
Some of the technology looked bang on as well. That's it, though.
Well, there you go.
And then a second comment. Honestly, Tiny Tina would have been better if she'd been acted like Chloe Grace Moretz played Hit Girl, but with less swearing.
I can see that.
And now something I will say about Tiny Tina is the grievous misuse of the word badonkadonk upset me terribly. She said, "Can you hand me my badonkadonk?" and pointed to a rabbit as if the rabbit was called badonkadonk.
I believe that's
And I need you to know that badonkadonk means ass.
Yeah.
And in the game, she attaches a badonkadonk to her rabbits, i.e. shoves a rocket up their ass.
Okay.
And that's why they explode.
Okay.
And she's wonderfully voiced by Ashley Birch and is a much better character.
Okay.
And then Jennifer Soanes.
Oh, yay, Jenny!
said, I have no connection to the game, but I do like Cate Blanchett making strange decisions.
Yes.
Mainly, I love seeing bunny ears in media.
Do you know what? We can all appreciate that. Look, Cate Blanchett is a very intimidating figure sometimes. She can come over as being a very serious, very sort of straight-laced style person, and playing Tar, it's hard not to conflate the character there and wonder, you know, how much of Tar there is in Cate Blanchett. Therefore, it's always fun to remember the occasional time when she'll play a weird Soviet investigative woman in the Indiana Jones movie. Or
she did do that, didn't she?
She did do that.
That's all the Facebook comments.
Thanks.
So unless you've got any on any other...
Nope, I can't.
Are you guys on Blue Sky yet?
Not yet. Well, that's actually something to bring up, is that we have just moved over, on recommendation of certain Jenny Sones, to Blue Sky. And
Yeah,
so
you should
far,
be there.
we are exclusively followed by porn bots, about 80 of them, so...
Yeah, I'm afraid you did. Having waited too long to join Blue Sky, the bots have just arrived at Blue Sky.
That is a shame.
Good news is, if you block bots on Blue Sky, then it removes their comments from your stuff or whatever. So it does genuinely curtail their reach. So just block those bitches.
One at a time.
I'll follow you later.
Please
I'll
do.
retweet you on the Roll Plus Heart
Yay, I think we followed you guys.
thing, and we'll get it going.
Good.
I see Blue Sky. I put us on Blue Sky and then forgot to do any social media for Roll Plus Heart for ages because I enjoy my job now, so I don't spend all day looking for other things to do that aren't my job. And I was like, oh shit, Blue Sky, and then I just came back and we had 400 followers, and I don't know how that happened.
Yeah. How many of them were porn bots?
None.
Oh, wow.
They're all genuine people.
Oh my god, how do you do that?
I think someone put us on a starter list for like TTRPG stuff.
Ooh, very fun.
I don't know.
Love it. Well, love
More
that.
followers than I personally have on Blue Sky, but that's fine. It's fine. I'm not bitter.
Well, I'll tell you who else is not better, and it's the one better thing. The one better thing. So, what is a better
I
thing?
actually remembered to think about this. Okay,
Good.
I've got 3 things for you. 1, just go and play Borderlands.
Yes.
That's
crucially.
obviously the better thing.
Yes.
If you insist on watching a movie, then I've got 2 things for you. 1, go and watch a good video game adaptation like Warcraft 2016.
Yay.
Or go and watch a bad video game adaptation that is, regardless, so much fun, which is Doom 2005.
Oh my god, I haven't watched that in literally 2 decades.
Which I love as a film. It's so stupid.
Oh my god.
And I love it. And is it good for fans of Doom? I mean, not particularly. But is it at least a fun movie?
Yeah.
Yes. And then you get that cool Doom-like sequence at the end where it's all POV.
Yeah, that's the
demon
one
shooting.
sequence I remember, because yes, it was very they essentially wanted to make Resident Evil, and so just slapped Doom on it.
Yeah, bafflingly a lot of archaeology in that movie as well.
Yeah, but
Which is why I first watched it.
it's so bizarre because it essentially just needed to be Event Horizon, but with more shooting.
Yeah.
And yet, yeah, they decided to do Paul W.S. Anderson's
about Mars.
Resident Evil in space. Very strange.
But yeah, those are my one better things.
Very good. Now, look, am I being over-ambitious in recommending Andrei Zulowski's On the Silver Globe? Maybe. But this is a
But you're doing it anyway,
I'm
baby.
doing it anyway because this is a 1988 sort of science fiction film. It was actually produced between 1976 and 77, but unfortunately, there was a lot going on in Poland at the time related to Russia. So, consequently, it didn't actually get released until 1988, when it couldn't be finished. And so there are intertitles that go on every now and then to sort of describe what should have happened in the movie. Although, to be honest, those are quite helpful just to check in to make sure you're actually following.
Just so that you know what's going on.
It's like, yeah, I could have actually done with these titles during the bits that were finished, actually, because it can be a bit tricky. But basically, it's this interesting story about, yeah, there's a planet, an Earth-like planet, which, yeah, has all of these problems and has this kind of sinister stuff going on, and then 2 astronauts arrive and decide that they're going to try and make something out of it. That's why I thought of it during this, is because of the idea of, you know, a terrible dystopian planet which then has strangers arrive on and try and forge their destiny here. But my god, this movie is gorgeous. It is just one of the most striking and beautiful looking movies you'll ever see. It's tremendous and incredibly ambitious in its scope. it's an extraordinary film. It's one of Zulawski's best and well worth watching. So that's On the Silver Globe. Polish science fiction, why not?
Why not indeed?
Why not indeed? And that's the one better thing. Now, where can people find out about the incredibly big on Blue Sky podcast that is Roll Plus Art?
We're big on Blue Sky, don't worry about it.
We're pretty big on Blue Sky.
Roll Plus Hearts, queer actual play, TTRPG podcast, anthology style. We play big gay games. We're for big gay people.
They're big in a very literal sense. They're all over 6 foot.
Yeah, we're all toweringly large. You know, at the end of Love Lies Bleeding?
Yeah.
That's me. I'm Big Girlfriend.
Big Girlfriend is a good...
Brackets gender neutral.
The Big Girlfriend is a good handle to have on a social media platform.
Yeah, it sure is. You can find us wherever you get your podcast, but if you want to find out more, you can find us on pretty much any social media, although I'm probably about to delete our Twitter because it's getting insane. Roll Plus Heart, or you can go to rollplusheart.co.uk to find a beautifully maintained website that has definitely been updated in the last 3 months. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Stop worrying.
Where you can buy merch, you can read. I do a write-up and a review of every game we play, so if you ever are looking for a game, you can go in there, you can search by like how many players it is or how long it takes to play or whatever you want and read me talking about it.
Yay.
Etc, etc. If you want to find me personally, I'm Starling Dust on Blue Sky and Tumblr and Twitch, and good news for all you big gays out there. I've recently started posting my lesbian porn art. Rather than just keeping it to myself.
It's
so exciting times for you. Go find it.
Go find it out there. It's very good. And less exciting over on this side of the street. You know what? I saw a tweet where I can't remember who it was, but there was somebody who tweeted like, "Oh my god, all of the girls have a massive crush on you." And the celebrity tweeted back, "Oh my god, that's amazing, thank you." And then some guy replied like, "All the guys have a crush on you as well." And she replied, "I'm less excited about that, but thank you." That is just my entire like attitude towards human sexuality now.
Was it Gillian Anderson? It sounds like it should have been Gillian Anderson.
I hope it was Gillian Anderson, but nevertheless. So we're out there doing our own thing that people could be less excited about. And you can find us OTT Pod on everything, including Blue Sky now. Come and try and join the porn bots over there. You'll be in good company.
And the real trick is, this is the Turing test. Does Paul immediately block you? If so, he can't tell you apart from a porn bot.
I feel so sorry for all the busty ladies and big dick guys out there.
There's a lot of lonely big busty ladies on Blue Sky, Paul. They just want to talk.
They're just trying to follow people's accounts and they keep getting blocked.
I will say that the Blue Sky bots, really unimaginative.
Sure.
They don't reply to anything. They don't do anything. They're just there. And when you click on their profile, there's a link to their OnlyFans. Like, put some effort in. If you're funny, I'll go to your OnlyFans. God. Make a few shit posts, and I'm sold.
Do you hear that, tiny XX dreamer? I probably shouldn't name a real one.
We can beep that out.
She likes yoga and also politics.
Oh, what a combo.
I wonder what her politics are. We'll find out over there on Blue Sky. And you can find us there and find out about our troubling politics and OnlyFans accounts if you just go there. I'm Paulie Fans.
I refuse to play this game because I didn't like the film enough to come up with something funny.
Fair. And remember, a lot of people will also say that after watching Borderlands. I refuse to play this game because...
No!
No!
God damn it!
No!
Play the game!
And remember, the one good thing about Borderlands is that if you like the world and the hint of character names, let's say, and the concept, then there's a whole bunch of games out there, and you can get a whole bunch of it on Steam.